Among Us is a huge hit, and therefore, you know that some people have got some gripes with it. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 things Among Us players hate. As a little disclaimer, we're mostly talking about public games here. Among Us primarily is a social game where most of these problems go away when you're just playing with friends. Private games are basically Disneyland, everything's fun and nice, where public games are kind of like the Wild West, where every man is for himself. Still great, it's a fun game, but there is definitely some stuff to hate out there. Starting off at number 10 is Midgame Quitters. Now, I don't know of a game where this is a fun thing, where people love Midgame Quitters, but you know how it goes. You get all the settings just the way you like them, you wait a few minutes to get a full lobby, you start the game, suddenly 4 people immediately just quit, then another person quits a minute later, then the game ends. Now, it probably sounds weird, but there's actually a specific reason that this happens so much in Among Us. In fact, even a couple. The most annoying of which, of course, is that somebody wanted to be the imposter, joined the game, and couldn't be the imposter. So they just quit instead of playing the game, and you know, it makes the game worse for everyone else. However, the only person they think about is themselves, so they don't care. The Among Us devs are trying to add some built-in features to punish people for doing stuff like this, but that doesn't mean it isn't a problem that we probably aren't going to see a lot of until those consequences are serious. At number 9, no one knows what cyan is. This may be the dumbest thing on the entire list, but we've seen so many arguments regarding colors in this game, and they are all ridiculous. But it always comes down to this dude right here. No one can seem to agree what color he actually is. Officially, it's cyan, but playing the game, you'd never know it considering how few people seem to know what color that is. There's always some kind of argument about colors. It's light blue, or is it cyan, or turquoise, or aqua blue, maybe teal, maybe sea foam. No one really seems to know. That's bad enough, but when you've got to deal with people who don't know what any of these colors are, you hear a lot of what's cyan if you say the color. Like, it's a simple process of elimination though, guys. There's red, yellow, brown, green, orange, black, and then there's cyan. It's the one that's just not a primary color. Is it really that hard to figure out? Number 8, red sus. It seems like there's always somebody who wants to accuse red of being the traitor. Just because they're red, like that's it? That's the full reason that they give for it? Or maybe they don't give it, maybe they just think red bad and don't say anything as to why. You always seem to see someone who just says red sus, and that's it. Did you call the meeting? Red sus. Did you ask where? Red sus. Did you say, literally nothing at all? Well, red sus. The worst part about it is it feels like about half the time it works. Red gets ejected because one guy says they're suspicious and doesn't have a real reason for it. Yeah, we get it. Red equals evil in video games and other fiction, but the imposter is chosen randomly and there is no reason to assume that red is the imposter by default. And for anybody who likes playing red, that's probably the bane of your existence. Like, the sooner that meme is dead, the sooner you'll be able to actually play the game. At number 7, people that turn on you just immediately. There are some people who play this game where if you say anything about who the traitor is, they're just like, oh, that's the traitor. And they just immediately accuse you, no matter how little sense it makes. Like, you see what the imposter did, clear as day. It's obvious they're responsible, so you give the exact details about what happened. Then the imposter just says no, and everybody's like, oh, well, seems like a reasonable response. And you get ejected instead. Some folks assume if you make an accusation or basically say anything at all, you have to be the imposter, and it's dumb. Sure, there is some logic, as a lot of the time imposters like to self-report or are the first to make an accusation, but that doesn't mean everyone who makes an accusation is an imposter. It's kind of the whole point of the game to make accusations, and accusing the accuser is totally a valid strategy. It's just that that's all they ever do, and with literally no proof, it starts to get really annoying. Number 6 is lazy crewmates, and this barely requires an explanation. You are a crewmate, your main objective to actually win the game is to complete tasks, and they're all basically an excuse to get you to move around the area. They're not hard to do, but sometimes you get people who just screw around and don't do them. They're just, I guess, waiting around for an imposter to kill them? Like, I don't know. You got one thing you're supposed to do as a crew member, and that's complete tasks, so just do them. A lot of the time, these people don't just idle or anything, they're just moving around the ship, just not doing their tasks. It's basic stuff that reminds you that literal children are playing this game, and that's when you suddenly feel old. It's so basic, but it's also so incredibly common. And when you get stuck in a game where everyone else in the crew is done, but one guy's just goofing off, it's so easy to get beyond frustrated. At number 5, so many annoying things about hide and seek. Now, hide and seek is a popular alternate game mode for Among Us where the game is simplified, so it's really just a game of cat and mouse with the crew trying to complete their tasks before the imposter kills all of them. It's a perfectly fine game mode, it's actually really fun, but the way some people play it in public games can be very frustrating. Like when you're playing a game of hide and seek and someone joins the game but doesn't know the rules and complains about it, the name of the lobby is literally called hide and seek. You should know what you're getting into. Look up the rules before you join. But on the other hand, it's annoying when you join a random game and report a body only to get shouted at and banned because they were playing hide and seek, duh, and even though it doesn't say anything about it in the description, all the settings are wrong for hide and seek and nobody mentioned it before the game started, how were you supposed to know? So there's annoying stuff on both sides when it comes to hide and seek. It's a lot of fun to play when you got a good group together, but playing in public can lead to some problems if you are not careful. At number 4 is the Sherlock Holmes. Here's an annoying thing everyone has to deal with from time to time. Not like the most common thing, but when you see it, you will be annoyed. We call this dude the Sherlock Holmes. They're the type to try and take over a conversation during a meeting, just throwing piles of text at you to explain their theories and hypotheses about who the imposter is. Basically, these dudes think they're absolutely geniuses who have got this game figured out and just deduce the imposter every time. Annoying thing about them, however, is that they're almost always wrong. Their conclusions are usually nonsense. They're just walls of text, just blocking out the conversation actually happening. These guys think they're in Mensa when they're much closer to a 0 IQ than a 300. It's not a bad strategy if you're an imposter though, especially if you're consistent about it between rounds. Like, still, at the end of the day, it's more annoying than it is fun. So if you get one of these win bags in your lobby, be prepared to take anything they say with a grain of salt. At number 3 is paranoid crewmates. We've all heard this one. They followed me, they're the traitor. One of the most common reasons people accuse each other of being a traitor is that these people both went in the same direction. Of course, that can be valid, totally valid in fact. You kind of have to follow people to kill them in the game, but that's not really enough on its own. Like, here's a map of the Skeld, most common level of the game. How many directions can you go from the start? Yeah, it's 3. There's going to be people going the same direction as you, especially if they've got the same tasks. What we're talking about here isn't, I found a dead body, the guy was following them before they died. We're talking about when people go down a hall, see somebody going the same direction, and immediately wheel around and hit the emergency meeting button. There's 2 people in the hall. That's your accusation. And of course, a lot of the time, unfortunately, it's enough to get somebody kicked. At number 2 is getting banned from lobbies for stupid reasons. There are good reasons to ban people in Among Us if they're cheating or spamming chat or generally just being terrible. That makes sense. The problem is when you get banned for no reason or really stupid reasons. A troll trick that's been popping up lately is for players to pretend they're a cheater and say that random players are their friends. They'll say stuff after a game like, I'm friends with Black, he told me who the imposter was, LOL, or something like that. Even though Black didn't cheat or has any idea who the guy is, they'll both get banned from the game for cheating. There's other dumb reasons to get banned though. Like, a common annoying thing is people using Among Us for Tinder, like a dating site basically, except it's a game that you're playing, you know, for a reason that isn't that, and trying to start something with other players. Like, tell them to shut up and for some reason you get banned. And of course, you might just get banned for no reason. Maybe somebody's hosting a game just banning people for no reason. That happens. This is all pretty much just as annoying as people quitting mid-game, just as with you being forced to quit rather than other people leaving. It is just the worst. And then, of course, at number 1, cheaters. They are the worst because of how utterly pointless it is. You don't have stats, there's no rewards for winning, there's no tiers, you just make the game worse for everyone else. There are hackers walking through walls, teleporting, instantly ending games. They just all suck too. There are people who will literally just say, I know you're the imposter, my friend told me. Like, that's the one rule of the game, you're not supposed to do that. People who cheat by using Discord are called teamers. They're probably the most annoying of all the cheaters in the game, but they're probably also the most common as well. You can't be too mad at the developers as they're only a 3-person team and suddenly the huge amount of people playing the game basically has caught them off guard. Like, they've also even added some anti-cheat stuff into the game, but there's really nothing they can do to stop teamers. A couple of bonus random things that are annoying about this game is when an imposter gets voted out and they just tell everyone who the other imposter is just to be a jerk. Yeah. Another one is ever have someone call a meeting and then just not say anything. Like, it's annoying and just potentially a huge waste of time considering how long the discussion timer is. Next, getting accused of self-reporting. That's when an imposter kills someone and then reports the body to make it look like they're innocent. Just because you find a body doesn't immediately make you a traitor. It's especially bad when you're unlucky enough to find 2 or 3 bodies in a row. Like, it's not your fault, you just found them. And of course, the worst thing about the game, if you're playing for hours as a crew member and finally get the chance to be an imposter, like every game you're in as crew, nobody does anything, but suddenly when you get to be the imposter, everyone's suddenly doing the Among Us world record speed run. Like, they're finishing tasks as fast as they can. We just wanted to win as the imposter. Is that so much to ask? Well, what do you think? Leave us a comment, let us know. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe, don't forget to enable all notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.